That is a solid 36 degrees today. It is Saturday, the 14th of August, I do believe. Oh man, we pulled in 2 truckloads of honey, and that is a scorcher. What I've been kind of poking around. I made up a bunch of hives with surplus bees on the windows of the hot room, and I had Carrie graft a whole bunch of queen cells, so I'm just putting the queen cells into these shook bee nukes. It's getting really late for that, but I didn't know what else to do with the bees other than kill them, because I don't like shaking them into the mature hives. These shook bees, they have virgins in there and they're cranky and they just make a mess of the yard when you shake them into the yard like that. I find sporadic queenlessness and hive problems after I do that. So I'm trying to concentrate that issue solely within hives themselves and dropping a queen cell in there. One thing that solves all issues is a virgin queen. So we'll let them do what they want and see what I get from them. Maybe we'll have a good September. Who knows? This year's been crazy enough as it is. Oh, I'm so hot I can hardly think straight. But I'm in this yard. I had the guys go through and we did some emergency feeding on Friday. Shut down the honey house just to get out, and we fed 15 or 20 yards, went through. The first of the second pull, honey in those boxes down around Miami. It's our sunflower field down there, kicked out. So we had 10 yards, 12 yards down there, and a neighbor grew sunflowers. Alfalfa didn't produce worth a damn, but the sunflowers seemed to dig and gave me like half a box of honey. So those hives are good. These hives on the second part of the second round, they've run short, right short. We have the second on there for space, and I wasn't sure if we're flow or not flow, or if we're going to get rain or not rain. And if we got rain, we'd have the second cut alfalfa flow. But we got rain, but not hardly any rain, not enough to do anything. So they're bringing pollen in, but there's no nectar. These boxes were bone dry. These hives were on the verge of starvation. So I set out a crew, emergency feed. Now everything is being taken right down to singles, and we are feeding a pail as we're pulling the honey off. Automatic. Any rate, I want to go down into these hives just to see what's going on and see if I caused any damage by sending them into that, balance of starvation. So I'm just going to dig into this one. But I just want to show you this again. This is the yard that I call my little oasis, and it's everything that I preach about all year long. Just a little pocket within the countryside which provides my bees and other pollinators nourishment the entire year. You look at the mature trees, they bloom right from when the snow melts into April. We get into the shrubs, the berries, all the way through. The summer we have clover in here, and we have Joe Pye weed, and we have these, I forget what you call these sunflower type looking plants, and we have goldenrod just about to spring its appearance, and all types of flowering plants throughout the entire year to provide nourishment. Just a little pocket of land. This little pocket of land is just a little wet spot off the edge of the field. Typically it would be drained, tiled, and farmed. But this farmer is also pasturing, so he's pasturing the ravine. The ravine just kind of wanders its way up here, and he doesn't feel the need to farm it. So I'm able to tuck my bees into this little pocket, and my bees enjoy this abundance of food. So I'm just about out of battery here, but I'm going to poke down in here. I don't have my smoker with me. I'll see if I can get down quick enough without the battery dying on me. But I just want to do a quick brood assessment and see what is going on. So they're hot on that pail. It's good to see. And they're getting a little bit of weight in there. I had the crew go around, and just simply threw patties on. This is yesterday. Just crack the box, throw the patty in, and they're devouring this puppy. Lots of bees in this box. Now these hives will live with a, once it gets caught up again, I'm going to come back around, give them 2 more patties. I want to give all these hives 3 pounds of patty and maybe give them another pail of syrup. And they're going to sit with 3 pounds of patty over them and a box of syrup, and maybe gallon and a half of syrup. And that should take us till September. I just want to maintain these colonies until we start bulk feeding them. I want to make sure they have what they need. And I want to make sure that they don't pull back and start setting themselves up for winter too soon. This patty, I don't consider this patty as a stimulative. I just consider it as maintenance. So if these colonies are they're feeling good and they're moving forward, they have pollen coming in and all this kind of stuff, this just helps bulk it up and keep the momentum of that brood nest going ahead. I don't know, a lot of guys say that patties will stimulate, but I can't seem to get patties to stimulate. But I can get patties to maintain, and I get patties to, you know, hold instead of those colonies falling back and cannibalizing. These guys have feed down in the bottom. They were not in risk of starvation, and they got pollen on hand, so that's a real good sign. We have food and packed full of pollen. That is going to be used for next year. Now what I'm looking for here, this time of year, these nests start to become very unfamiliar to me. I'm always used to seeing nests advance, moving forward, growing. This time of year they start restricting themselves. And there's a bunch of open space there. So there's brood. Brood's emerged, and there's open space. That queen is allowing open space down the bottom. There's a slab of brood. Beautiful. Rimmed with pollen, rimmed with nectar or honey or whatever. Kind of in the shadow here. Let's do this before my battery runs out. I'd love to see some open brood going on down here. That means the brood will be going into September, and that'll be winter nest. Ooh, there's another slab of brood. Lots of pollen in the nest. I'm very happy to see that. That's going to help through winter into the spring. But she is able to dominate her space in the bottom here. Okay, I'm guessing she's over on the other side just because there's so much maturity on this side. Another slab of brood. There's some open brood. That's what I wanted to see. And mature, going all the way out to eggs. There we go. This is cat brood, mature larvae, all the way out to eggs to the edges. That's what I want to see. So this colony did not fall into starvation. I did not lose momentum. I'm just going to pull one more frame. Slab of pollen. I have eggs and developing larvae. So they're still taking those eggs into the larval state. That is, oh boy. Okay, so this really put me in a good mood now because this whole frame is shining from larvae, developing larvae. There's no risk on this nest whatsoever. And then I'm looking at more brood on that side. So I'm going to put these guys back together. That's what I was looking for. I was looking to see whether or not the sudden dearth in my hive activity, because I just stripped the honey from them and left them with nothing, if that would have sent them into starvation, you know, set them back a bit. it had not. I had lots of reserves on hand by the looks of it. And when I come back around, I'll provide them more patty just to help maintain the momentum. I'll provide them a little bit more syrup, and I'll allow this colony to continue its fantastic looking brood development and set themselves up masterfully for winter. That is what I was looking for. I was afraid that maybe I could be managing just in the single box here now, because she is leaving a little bit of space and I can put some food in there. But if we happen to get a heavy late flow for some reason with all these bees, it would just plug them out as that brood emerges. It would plug them out, and she wouldn't be able to dominate the space she needed to be able to stretch herself out if she was still wanting to, be ambitious and lay a real big brood nest. If it's plugged out, she can't do that. So sometimes just a little bit of extra work by putting that second on is probably the best investment. Typically in this bee business, the right answer is more work. That's the curse. So with that, my battery is just about done. I haven't been posting recently because my internet is down. We don't have a good enough internet signal to be able to upload videos. So I've been quiet for the last week, if you're wondering where I've been. And it just kind of feels weird not to be uploading videos every day as I talk to myself. But it also is a little bit nice to take a break every once in a while. We're extremely busy being stretched from, we're extracting, we're pulling honey, we're feeding. I got to move yards out of fields so farmers don't, knock them over with swathers. I got all this work, and then we started harvest. I'm running the evening shift whenever I can on the combine. And the farm is extremely busy by pulling cattle off the pastures. We have no grass. This little oasis looks green, but our pastures are brown. Our cows are, so we're pulling the calves off and supplementing them with feed just to make sure they don't fall backwards on us. So a lot's going on in the farm, not to mention everything else going on. So I love it. It's the time of year. Rock and roll.